Some people last week had said that they would not be here this week, so I decided to take a pause on Haman, the wicked, and do something special about Chanukah. And it does feel kind of connected because why? Why does Purim and Chanukah feel connected? Anybody have any thoughts about that?
They're both not biblical.
Right? They're both rabbinic. Excellent. And they're kind of the paradigmatic rabbinic holidays. Does that make sense to people?
No, not to me.
Not to you. So tell me why, Estelle.
I don't know. Please. I don't know much of anything, so I'm waiting to learn.
Okay. I would say paradigmatic because the sages actually set up additions to our liturgy on Purim and on Chanukah. Welcome, Adela, sorry. What do we add to our liturgy on Purim and Chanukah?
Al-Hanisim.
We add Al-Hanisim, which means about the miracles. And
Thank you, darling.
that would be similarities. Another similarity between Purim and Chanukah, because we've been learning about Purim, for those who are not usually on this class, we've been learning about the Megillah and anti-Semitism in the Megillah. What would be another thing that's similar, that we're allowed to do work, melacha, not like on the biblical holidays, we're allowed to, but we're not allowed to we're not allowed to fast during these days of Purim, and on Chanukah, we're not allowed to give eulogies in the same way you're not supposed to do them on a Rosh Chodesh or another day like that, long eulogies. That's the two things that usually identify what a chag is. That's not a biblical chag where you're not allowed to use electricity or cook, but a rabbinic overlay of a kind of half holiday. Does that make sense to people when I say that? Like a half holiday. Meaning we rejoice, but we're not forbidden from doing melacha. We can go about our regular business. That's what I meant. Okay. What is different about Purim and Chanukah? We've said some things that are one is one day, well, unless you count Shushan Purim, which is 2 days, but and Chanukah is 8 days. So that's clearly a difference. What other differences
They're
are there?
different periods of but every holiday is a different period. Yeah.
Correct. That's correct. So they commemorate different periods. Yes, that makes sense. Okay, but I guess what I'm asking is, yeah, Felice.
Could you hear me if am I still muted?
No.
Oh, okay,
We
great.
hear you.
Okay, great. I know one thing is on Hanukkah, we do say Hallel. On Purim, we do not.
Excellent. We say Hallel on Hanukkah, but not on Purim, which is so interesting. Hallel is a prayer of thanksgiving, gratitude,
Right.
and praise. Anybody
And
know
you
a
would-
reason for that? 1 second,
Wait.
please.
It's
Wait.
not Purim took place outside of Jerusalem, outside of Israel.
Who's speaking?
that's 'cause-
Margaret.
am.
Yes. So Hanukkah, because it happened in Israel, that added an
that's-
extra layer. Very nice. And Purim happened in the Golah, in the exile in Persia.
Galus, yeah.
Galut. Yes, 1 second, Felice. Now Charlie raised his hand. Yeah.
Yeah, so Esther, the book of Esther, which describes Purim, is in the Bible. There's no reference to Hanukkah in the Bible, and actually barely any references in the Talmud.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Very nice.
interesting.
Excellent. That's great. In fact, Charlie read the book of Maccabees, so I encourage him next year to give a talk on the book of Maccabees. Lance, what did you want to add?
In the New Testament,
Can I-
Jesus
No,
celebrates-
wait. Is this
I
about the
just want-
difference? 1 second, Estelle. What?
Sorry.
I was just Lance raised his hand.
Yeah, let
so Lance,
Lance
is
go
this
first.
about the difference between Purim and Hanukkah?
That's a good
No.
question.
So
It's
wait,
about
that's
the
my
fact-
question. That's the question on the table right now. Estelle, what did
Okay.
you want to add?
No, what I wanted to ask, I understood that it was not until about the early 1930s that the rabbis even mentioned Hanukkah as a holiday.
No,
they never-
not true. Not just that,
No.
but
That's
in the
what I'm
Gemara,
asking.
so in the Talmud, in the Gemara, there's a very famous passage that starts Mai Chanukah. What is Chanukah? Meaning, what is its essence? What are we celebrating? And the Talmud was written like, I think around 400 or 500. Okay. All right.
Okay. I have
1 second, Felice. 1
Okay,
second, Felice.
sure.
Estelle, okay, you got that?
Yes, but why was it never really celebrated in the early days of the 1900s?
It was just not in the community maybe that you know about, but
We
100% it
were-
was celebrated.
Who's around?
100%.
We don't know anybody
You
who's
just may
around.
not know about it, but it was 100% celebrated all the time throughout the years. Okay, anybody have something else to add about the difference? That's all I'm asking. Yes, Elaine?
In Purim, there's a lot of hiddenness, hidden for Judaism, and in Hanukkah, it's a broadcasting of
God's miracles.
Yeah,
Like
That's true.
overt and covert. Would you say that?
yes.
Mhm.
Nice, beautiful. And I want to add a sweet little something to that. I learned once. What is the toy, I guess, or the fanciful item that we use on Chanukah?
A dreidel.
A dreidel. And what is the sort of toy that we use on Purim? A grugger. Yes, a rashan. So look, follow with me. Do we have a rashan?
You know, one makes noise and one doesn't.
Do we have one? Okay, if we don't have one, that's okay. So on Chanukah, remember what Elaine just said. Elaine said that on Chanukah, it's overt, the miracles. It's clear, that Yad Hashem, the hand of God, and it is identified in the dreidel because you spin it from on top, like as if God's hand is spinning the
Oh,
event.
that's interesting.
And so that there would be miracles. We're about to talk about the miracles. We haven't gotten to that yet. No, we don't have one here. Yeah. Okay. Now, I don't actually have a rashan, a grugger with me, but what does it look like usually? It's like this. You spin it from underneath. And it seemed on Purim that it was the people that did it. You don't overtly see God's hand. So a sweet way to remember is thinking that the grugger is the events were orchestrated by man, by Mordechai, by Esther, etc., even though we believe that God's hand was behind it. But that was just a sweet way that the Sivivon is twisted from on top from God's hand, and the Rashan, the grugger, is underneath. So that's a way to remember the difference. So beautiful. Does anybody else have something to add just about that question, the difference between Purim and Chanukah? By the way, another similarity between Purim and Chanukah, and this Estelle speaks to the fact that it is such an ancient holiday, is that we read from the Torah. Not only do we add Al Anisim, we read from the Torah on Purim and Chanukah. You may be very surprised to hear this, but on Yom Ha'atzmaut, we don't read from the Torah, unless it happens to fall on a Monday or Thursday. But we don't read from the Torah because we believe that today, we don't just add Torah readings from a Torah. I'm about to read what you said, Adela. We don't read from the Torah because we read a Haftorah on Yom Ha'atzmaut, which is from the prophets, but we don't read from the Torah. But Purim and Chanukah read from the Torah. Now, it's an interesting conundrum, by the way. This whole class is going to be that I have collected cool things that I saw about Chanukah that I wanted to share with you.
Make it
So
worthwhile.
I think I made it, I called it in my personal source sheet, I called it something like hidden and overt miracle, I don't know, or hints and miracles on Chanukah. But I wanted to collect a whole bunch of cool things that I have learned and I took from here, there, and
share-
everywhere
to
to
share
share
with
with
us.
you. Yes. So here's a conundrum. How do you know what to read on Purim and on Chanukah? Why? What do we read on biblical holidays? Charlie's smiling. What do we read on biblical holidays? What do we read from the Torah? Just guess. Take an
I know.
educated guess, Felice.
Something related to the holiday.
Something related to
Yeah,
the
why-
holidays. So of course we add things. It's true, like Rosh Hashanah, we read about the binding of Isaac, etc.
Right.
But we always add a maftir, a little part that actually says, "Oh, and on the first day of Tishrei of the 7th month, you
Yeah,
should
that's
have
just
a holiday."
right.
And on the
They said-
10th day, thank you.
You
One
have a
second, please.
date. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm going to continue. So on the 10th day of the 7th month, we're going to have Yom Kippur. So we read about that on Yom Kippur. On Pesach, we read about Pesach, right? We read about Yetziat Mitzrayim, leaving Egypt. But what do we read about on rabbinic holidays? Why is it a conundrum? Does the Torah say anything about Chanukah and Purim?
No,
Just say yes or no.
no,
No. Why not?
They're much later.
it happened after.
It happened afterwards. Let's say
After the
this
Torah
was the
given.
If this was the Tanakh, like a history book. It was closed at some point. When was it closed? At the end of the time of the Israelites in the desert. They hadn't even entered the land of
Israel, yes.
Israel yet. And we know that Purim and Chanukah happened afterwards. So how could it
Right.
be that the Torah would say something about it?
It didn't occur yet.
It didn't occur yet. Thank you, Felice. Exactly. So I want to add two things. First of all, I just want, before I get into, 'cause I have such cool things to share with you today. I'm so excited.
I
The
have
first
just
thing
a quick question. Can I just, my question, please?
is,
Yeah, okay, just very quick. In Hallel today,
wait one second.
it's
I wanted to
Rosh-
finish the answer to the question and then ask your
okay.
question. So
Okay,
the
sure.
answer to, thank you. The answer to what do we read? So on Purim, we have a teaching that Haman was from whom? From what?
Amalek.
Amalek. And we have a positive commandment in the Torah to eradicate Amalek. Whether he was really or not, that's not the issue right now. But what we read on Purim is about Bnei Israel, the Israelites, how they were attacked by Amalek, and the mitzvah to eradicate, or one of the two. I think it's about when Israel was attacked. Does that make sense? Is that logical? Make sense to people, right? That feels like a good connection for Purim. Chanukah, our sages did something so smart. What does the word Chanukah actually mean? Not the acronym, the word.
Dedication.
Thank you, Lance. Dedication. Dedication of the temple. Why? Because when the Jews overcame the Assyrian Greeks, when they conquered Rabim Miyad
It was
Matim,
only one
many.
cruise.
What, Felice, wait, give me a second, please.
Okay,
One
sure.
second. Yes, I appreciate it. Just give me a second to finish thought, and then please add. I would appreciate if you would add, because you always have what to add. That's nice. So they rededicated the temple because the temple had been defiled. It had literally been defiled. Blood of a pig. They brought, sacrifices. We all know about, as Felice mentioned, there was a miracle of the oil, that they even found oil that was uncontaminated, that was
Right,
still,
what?
that wasn't defiled, that still had the seal of the high priest in order to light the menorah. By the way, that is the correct word to use, because in the Beit HaMikdash, the menorah that is what is the menorah. Menorah has 7 branches, and a Chanukiah has 8. So the fact that in America we use the word menorah isn't great. It's not terrific, but it's kind of the English word menorah. But it should never refer to the one in the Beit HaMikdash. In any case,
That's why they said
the fact
Chanukah.
we should say Chanukiah, yeah, but it's like a hard word for Americans.
Yeah,
so
I
get
know.
it.
Yeah, that's
So,
true.
yeah, exactly. So, okay, so they said, okay, it's about the dedication of the temple, the rededication, right? Chanukah. Let's look to see if there's something similar in the Torah. And bingo, there is something similar. Because the tabernacle, the Mishkan, which is the precursor of the Beit HaMikdash, of the temple, was dedicated in the Torah, in the book of Numbers. And the other beautiful thing is that the princes of the tribes brought offerings and gifts every day. One day,
Every day, right. Yeah.
12 tribes, 12 princes. They brought day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The first day of Chanukah, we read about this is the dedication of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle, and this is what the prince on day 1 brought. And then on day 2, we read 2 and 3, doesn't matter why, but let's just leave it at that for now. In Israel, we read just day 2, day 3, 3. Today is day 7.
7, and you read
We
8
read
also.
about 7. And tomorrow, or tomorrow, there's a special name for the 8th day of Chanukah. Anybody know?
Zot Chanukah.
Thank you, Felice. It's called Zot Chanukah. This is Chanukah. Why? Because what we read is 8, but we can't just leave it at 8. That doesn't feel good because there's another 4 princes. So we read
Right.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and that leads into a beautiful passage saying, Zot Chanukat HaMizbeach. This was the dedication of the altar. And that's why we call the 8th day, it's a very long laning compared to the other days on the 8th
Right.
day, and it's called Zot Chanukah. This is Chanukah, meaning this is what we did, this is how we dedicated. Lance, you had a question.
Okay, about Hanukkah.
Well,
Okay.
that's convenient.
Besides the oil needed for the menorah, right? Besides the oil needed for the
Beside the
menorah,
oil, yeah.
right? What other purpose was the sacred oil necessary for the dedication?
I don't know, is this a trivia question?
No, it's not. It's the opposite. It's critical.
Okay, It's crazy.
Correct.
Well,
Correct.
it still could be trivia.
No,
Okay.
Lance.
Are you talking about anointing the priests?
Yes. Bingo.
Nice,
You got it.
beautiful, very
They were
nice.
all, oil was also needed for the mincha offerings.
For the mincha offerings. One second, I just want to point out that it was my husband Martin who pantomimed for me. Just want to say, I want to give him credit. You can't see him; he's not on Zoom. Come on Zoom, Martin. Come on Zoom. We invite you.
Still won't see me.
I still won't see you. That's
It'll
true.
just be a
That's true. He doesn't need to.
flag.
Okay. And Lance is a Kohen, a priest. So he you guys are
Bingo.
I know.
Oh, that's interesting. But
Okay.
so, what's your reason, Lance? What do
What's
you
my
think?
reason?
No. He agreed. He agreed.
Oh,
That's
for
not
some-
the reason that it was used. Okay.
No,
I
have,
called
can I
it.
ask- can
Yes.
I
What
ask
was
my
your
question?
question? What was your question?
It's like a question and comment. Usually, the whole Hanukkah, we read we say the whole Hallel, except on Rosh Chodesh, we only say I don't know if they say half Hallel, but those two paragraphs that are eliminated. So I was wondering, today being Hanukkah and Rosh Chodesh, do you say those two paragraphs? And I think you do, because it's more. It's something that's like, in other words, that Hanukkah is only once a year, but Rosh Chodesh is a Rosh Chodesh every month. So you probably would leave it out.
No.
So
So
I
here's the
wasn't
thing.
sure. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure, but I
I-
did say it.
Yeah. So first of all, if you look in your Siddur, it tells you. If you read it,
Wow.
there are actually instructions, and it says skip on Rosh Chodesh except during Chanukah.
Oh, mine didn't say that, but
Oh,
maybe
well,
it did.
the Koren does, so that's good.
Oh,
So the
okay.
thing is,
Oh,
you
that's
know what it is,
interesting.
Felice? So it's a little bit like if you have Shabbat and Yantif.
Right.
Yantif, usually we can cook, we can transfer fire. But when
Right.
Shabbat coincides, then whatever you do or don't do on Shabbat, you still have to do. Now,
Right.
during Chanukah, we say a full Hallel. I don't want to get into that. That would be its own interesting topic,
Okay,
maybe
all
another
right.
year, about why we do full and not
Well,
half
it's not
Hallel.
even half, only two
Skipping.
paragraphs.
Right. But in Hebrew, sometimes they call it Chatzi Hallel, but let's not
Right,
call it.
right.
So once you have Chanukah where you say all of Hallel, there's no reason to take away two paragraphs because of Rosh Chodesh, because we have a compelling reason to say
To
all of
say.
Yeah.
Wow,
Lance, did
okay.
you have a question? Because I want to move on.
I have
if
a brief comment.
Thank
Wait,
you.
wait, Felice, I can't hear both of you. Did you
No,
have
I'm just
something to
saying,
add?
thank you for your explanation.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Yes, Lance.
We say Hallel on Purim.
No. We say
No,
a type
we
of Hallel, but can
don't.
we not, wait, 1 second. Can we not, I agree. Some people say the Megillah is Hallel, but
Nope.
I just don't want to
That's
get
not what I'm
into that
thinking of.
because it's distracting. Okay. You want to put in the chat? Why don't you put in the chat?
Okay.
Okay, great.
That's a good
Adela
idea.
said that another difference, we fast before Purim. I think that's really meaningful because I
Yes.
find that takes a little bit from, it's a little hard to go into Purim fasting. You're
Right.
listening to the Megillah. If you can't fast during the Megillah, you're allowed to break your fast and have a little bit. By the way, the people who keep Shushan Purim in Israel, in Yerushalayim, they don't fast before Purim. They fast, then there's regular Purim, then they have Shushan Purim. So it's a little different for them. Okay, thank you, Adela, for pointing that out. I think that also makes a difference. There's I can't think of the word, a different feel, like a tangible, a tangible difference in feeling between Purim and between Chanukah. I want to add actually one more. Yeah, Felice.
I was going to just say one quick thing. I believe this year Purim
Yeah, but
came
Felice,
out.
Felice,
No.
Felice,
But I wanted
Felice.
to say, okay. I just want to say that when we had a break when it was on Shabbos.
I know. I
Thursday.
get that, but Felice, I just don't want to
Okay.
distract. Let's talk about that when we get to Purim. I have so many things to get to about Chanukah.
Oh, okay, go on.
Thank you. One big difference between Chanukah and Purim is that on Purim, the Haman and Achashverosh in the background were trying to actually physically kill the Jews, physically kill the Jewish people, eradicate the Jewish people, kill physically. On Chanukah, the Assyrian Greeks were trying to not
Convert.
to kill. What?
To convert.
So I would say to kill our souls as Jews.
Yeah, right.
Because we weren't allowed to keep Shabbat or Rosh Chodesh, Rosh Chodesh, remember, that's something that happens in nature, right? That the new moon, but it allows us to set our dates for our Hebrew holidays. So that's a big deal if we can't keep Rosh Chodesh and set the date. Can't keep Shabbat. We're not allowed to learn Torah, and we're not allowed to perform circumcision on boys. Those are basic tenets of keeping Judaism alive. So it was on pain of death, that's true. But as long as you didn't do that, you could stay alive. I think that's a basic, tangible difference between Purim and Chanukah that I wanted to mention. Shout out for me for my, please read my drasha from Shabbat if you weren't able to be in shul and hear it, because I touch on something like that. I think you'll find it interesting. I went to a University of Pittsburgh on our way to Columbus, and I was wowed by a display in the university that's really, really, really cool. It's called the Cathedral of Learning, and I found it so moving and inspiring. So it's in the, today's Wednesday, yesterday, it's in the daily email. There's a link to it. You are welcome to
Yeah.
you are welcome
Yeah.
to read it and be inspired, I hope, by what I saw. Okay, what did I say? Okay, we're good. Now we can continue to the other tidbits I want to teach you. Okay. We said that Chanukah, okay, we're putting Purim aside. Bye Purim, putting you aside for now. We compared, we contrasted, putting you aside. Purim's coming soon, we can talk about it then. What we said that Chanukah is not in the Torah because it didn't happen until the Torah was closed. What if I told you that there are 3 little twinkles, little hints to Chanukah in the Torah? Little hints. Okay, I want you to come with me and I want to show them to you. Yes.
Now I was just, I think one of them was when the Chanukah Sabai, the Mizbeach and the Kohen. I mean, the different tribes brought things.
Well, we spoke about that. I
Yeah,
said that's
right.
what we read. No, that's not what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. That spoke
oh.
about the Chanukah, the dedication of the Mizbeach. I'm
Yeah.
talking about just allow me to show you
Okay.
these little hints. Okay, I didn't make
Okay.
them up. Other people
Okay.
found them, but I'm delighted to bring them to you. So I want to remember, what is the Hebrew date for Chanukah?
25 Kislev.
25th day of Kislev. And I want to also remind people that the word Chanukah in Hebrew, Chanukah, can also, it means dedication of, that's true, but it can also be separated into 2 parts. Chanu means they camped or rested. Kaf He
On the 25th.
in numerology in Hebrew is 25.
5.
And it's the 25th of Kislev. So it's another little hint, okay, to the fact that Chanukah is hinted at. It's not written specifically in the Torah because it didn't happen yet.
Did you ever hear? Excuse me. Did you ever hear that they say that Jesus was born on
Wait,
Hanukkah?
Felice. Allow me to do this.
Oh yeah, sure.
Please, if you want to share in the chat. Chat would be more helpful to share.
Okay.
So I want to show you 2 different
Judy
things.
has something to say.
Yes.
Yeah, question. But is anywhere anybody discusses the word chinuch within the word Chanukah?
Yeah, I'm sure people do. Chinuch is to teach or education.
Right.
Yep.
So,
I mean, you can certainly make a connection. You could say they try to take away our education, teaching it to the next generation by doing, there are many ways to do it. Yes. But I would say but Chanukah really doesn't mean education, even though it's hidden within. Okay. When everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Make it bigger. Okay,
Yeah.
great. In Parshat Mas'eh is the last parsha in the book of Numbers. Mas'eh means Mas'eh means the journeys of or the travels of. Ele Mas'eh b'nei Israel. These are the travels of the Israelites in the desert. Remember that the 40 years in the desert? People have heard of that. If you get to, and I went through it yesterday, I have a list here. Let us count until we get to number 25. I want everybody to do it with me. So I have the Hebrew and the English here. These are the travels of Bnei
It
Israel.
must be someplace.
Felice,
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going to say anything.
count with me, okay? Quietly. All right, I'll do it out loud. So the first place they were at was Ramses, right? This was the Egyptian place. That's where they started from. But now we're talking about the encampments. So let's do it. I'm sorry, I'm doing the Hebrew. Let me do it. They set out from Ramses on the first day. Sorry, I have to read the Hebrew. It's a little bit easier for me.
Right.
And here it is, verse 5. Everybody, you can read along. Here's verse 5 in the Hebrew. Everybody sees that?
And they went to Sukkot.
So Sukkot is number one. People, you're going to have to write it down for yourselves to keep track. I mean, I have it written down, so that's helpful. I made myself a list. The first place they encamped, number one, is Sukkot. Vayis'u mi Sukkot. They traveled from Sukkot. Where was the next place? Vayachanu be'etam. Etam. Etam is number two. They traveled from Etam. I'm on verse 7. You can take out your own if you prefer. I mean, it's what chapter is it? It is chapter 33. If you want to look at numbers 33, you're welcome to do it on your own. So everybody, so Etam, we were up to Etam in verse 7. That's number 2. Now let's do Vayisum Etam, Vayashav al Pi Hachirot, Vayachanu, and they camped in Pi Hachirot, which is the opening to Chirot, Lifnei Migdol, wherever Migdol was, they were right near it. Everybody with me? Migdol, Pi Hachirot is number 3. They traveled from Chirot, I'm in verse 8. They went in the Yam, Bamidbara, Vayachuder, they walked 3 days in the desert. Vayachanu, this is a summary, by the way. Everything, all this has happened already. And they camped in Mara. Mara is number 4. Vayisumi Mara, they traveled from Mara. And, one second. Vayisumi Vayavo Elima. They came to Elima. And Vayachanu Elim, actually. Vayachanu Sham. And they camped in Elim. That was number 5. Vayisum Elim, they traveled from Elim. Vayachanu, and they camped Al Yam Suf. Yam Suf is the Reed Sea, or what used to be called the Red Sea. Vayisum Yam Suf, they traveled from Yam Suf. Vayachanu B'midbar Sin. Midbar Sin is the desert of Sin. And that is number 7. Vayisumi Midbar Sin, they traveled from, by the way, in when you read it in Shul, you do it actually has a very special tune. Vayisumi Midbar Sin, Vayachanu B'dofka. Vayisumi Dofka, Vayachanu B'yalush. You may remember that if you've been in Shul for Maseh. So Dofka, Vayachanu B'dofka in verse 12 is number 8. Vayisumi Dofka, they traveled from Dofka, Vayachanu Be'alush, and they camped in Alush. That's number 9. Vayisume Alush, they traveled from Alush. Vayachanu B'Refidim. Refidim in verse 14 is number 10. 1 second, sorry. Refidim, wait. Yes. Refidim is number 10. And there wasn't Mayim there, and then they, remember, and then he hit the rock, and he got water, whatever. Vayisum Refidim, they traveled from Refidim, Vayachanu b'Midbar Sinai. Now they camped in a place called the Sinai Desert. And then Vayisum Midbar Sinai, we're in 16. Vayachanu, where did they camp? Kivrot HaTa'ava. This is where they got the quail, because they were hungry for meat. Vayisum Kivrot HaTa'ava, they went from Kivrot HaTa'ava, Vayachanu b'Chatzerot. And they camped in a place called Chatzerot, number 13. Kivrot HaTa'ava was 12, Chatzerot is 13. Vayisum Chatzerot, they went from Chatzerot, Vayachanu b'Ritma. Ritma is 14. Vayisum Ritma, Vayachanu b'Rimon Paretz. Rimon Paretz is 15. Vayisum Rimon Paretz, Vayachanu b'Livna. Livna is 16. Oops, sorry. Sorry. Vayisum Livna, they went from Livna. Vayachanu b'Risa. Risa is 17. Vayisum Risa, Vayachanu b'Kehelata. Kehelata is 18. Vayisum Kehelata, Vayachanu b'Har Shafer, 19. Vayisum Har Shafer, Vayachanu b'Charada, 20. Vayisum Charada, Vayachanu b'Makelot, 21. Vayisum Makelot, Vayachanu b'Tachat, 22. Vayisum Mitachat, Vayachanu b'Tarach, 23. Vayisum Mitarach, Vayachanu b'Mitka, 24. Vayisum Mitka, Vayachanu b'Chashmona. Chashmonaim.
That's very
25th place that they camped was in a place called Chashmona. Now, what are the chances? The
Alexis,
25th day of
stop.
Kislev and the 25th place that the Jews
That's
encamped
interesting.
Oh,
has a
that's
similar,
the family name, right?
yes, Hasmonian,
Right.
Chashmonaim. The Chashmonaim, that was Matityahu, that was the father, and Yudah Maccabi, his children, those are the ones who were the Kohanim, but they also led the revolt. So that is twinkle number one.
What's
Little
it?
teeny weeny weeny hint. Just a
Excuse me.
little hint. Yeah.
Just one quick question. Do these places still exist? Some of
Oh.
these places? You don't know.
I'm sure you could look it up and see. I don't know. I mean,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Midbar Sinai exists.
Well, that, yeah, but the other place you never hear of, really, except in Masbeh.
That's a great question. I think that's a good question for historians or archaeologists.
Or for Lance. Lance likes to look up things. Lance
You could look it up too.
What's
I know,
what's
but
the name
he-
again?
He's
What-
very good.
What's the name
Lance.
again?
Of what?
The place is in Masbeh.
The place that you want to find out about. Assessment.
Oh, they're in Numbers 33. All those
Numbers
places.
33.
All those
Okay.
places, yes. Numbers 33.
Okay, now I'm
Got
going to
it.
show you. That was hint number one. I'm about to show you hint number two as soon as it comes up on my computer. It's taking its time. Sorry about that. There we go. All right. Ready for the second one? Remember, what was the day of the month of Chanukah?
25.
25th.
25. All right. Now we're not counting places. Now we're counting words. Bereshit. Remember that? Genesis. 1, 2, 3. Everybody follow. I'm pointing my finger.
Where?
Bereshit bara Elokim et hashmayim v'et haaretz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Verse 2. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Vayomer Elokim, 23, 24. Or light is the 25th
The
word.
fifth word. Oh, that's interesting.
Wow.
I
That's
know, right?
interesting.
Yes.
Not only
Did you-
that, it then repeats it. Vayehi or, and there was light. Oh, thank you, Adela. I know. I didn't make it up, but I love it. So we have the
Oh,
25th.
this is an original for me. Okay.
No, it is not an
I was
original. It's
gonna- I was
actually,
going to give you credit.
no, don't give me credit. This is not for me, but when I
But
learned
you
something.
found it.
Yeah,
That
thank
you
you.
get credit
When I
for
learn
that.
something beautiful, I love to share it. So the 25th word in the Torah is or, light, just a sweet little connection. And the 25th place that they camped in Midbar Sinai is Hashmonat, like Hasmonian. And I'm about to tell you the third. I need my Tanakh for a minute.
It's interesting, Estelle, right? Really nice.
Okay, but you gotta listen. You gotta listen. There's no, we don't need commentary, but I will ask questions as we go along. All right, now remember what I said. It's not written in the Torah, right? We're looking for hints. All right. Now, as I think Felice pointed out, I don't remember who pointed out, that what do we read on the biblical holidays or even on Rosh Chodesh? By the way, today is Rosh Chodesh. We read in Shul
something about
today,
right. Mhm.
we read about Rosh Chodesh. That's what we
That's
read about.
right.
Because Rosh Chodesh is a biblical holiday. You're allowed to do work. You don't have to not use electricity and not cook, but it still is considered a holiday, actually a holiday given more to women. Now, when we read the biblical holidays, we take, if you look in the Siddur or wherever, Machzor, or whatever you have, there's a parsha, the holidays, meaning Pesach, Shavuot, Sukkot, all those biblical holidays, they are listed in a few different places in the Torah. They're
Right.
listed,
One's in Vayikra, someplace in Vayikra. I remember.
trust me, I'm about to get there, Felice.
Okay.
They're listed for their sacrifices, for their offerings. They're also listed as what kind of agricultural holiday they are. Give
Right.
me a moment. And thank you, Felice. She did point out that in Vayikra, Parashat Emor,
Emor,
that's the name. There is a list of the holidays, and we generally take from there we read like the Maftir, hello, we have a guest. How you want to introduce yourself?
Is that your grandson?
No, it's not my grandson. It's Adela's son. What's your name?
Oh,
Leo.
Leo the lion. And that's the symbol. Oh, and Leo's sister is here. Hi.
Could we see them? Could we see
Yes,
them?
you can. You can see them. They're on the camera. Okay. So as I said, we read Labriut. We read about the holidays. Now, whoever wants to, you can open up your Torah, Tanakh, whatever you want. Parshat Emor is chapter 23 in the book of Leviticus, the middle book. And it starts like this: Vaydaber Hashem and Moshe lemor. God said to Moshe, "Speak to Bnei Israel." Got some sneezing in the background, sorry. And tell them these are the holidays. And now there's going to be a nice list of the holidays. How would you expect, in what order do you think the holidays would be written? Just what's your guess?
Pesach.
1 second. Yes, but sorry,
But
I'm
really,
not disagreeing with you. I
Chronologically,
meant,
would be Rosh Hashanah.
wait. 1 second. Let me time out. Let me explain my question better. Labriut, Martin. My question is, in what order do you think they would be written? That's a better, not each one, but an overarching, like, how do you think if somebody wanted to make a list in the Torah, what order would it be? And I think you
Well,
said it, Elaine, because you said
By the
Pesach.
month. Yeah,
By the month. So why Pesach first, Elaine? Maybe you can explain Labriut.
first
Got
month.
6 sneezes. It's the first month. Why is the first month Nisan? Can somebody explain that to me? We think of the first month as Tishrei, Rosh Hashanah.
right.
That's not the way the Torah lists them.
Right.
Anybody have a succinct answer to that?
Okay.
The first
Okay.
of Nisan is the new year.
Wait, guys, we can't talk all at once. Charlie, just raise your hand, please. That's all. Yes, Charlie. 1 second, Felice. Charlie.
Okay.
Labriut. He's allergic to me. Charlie will try. Yeah. Okay, Charlie.
The first of Nisan is Rosh Hashanah for kings, and the number of the months are numbered starting with Nisan in the
You know,
Torah.
okay, you're right. I don't think that's the reason that it's the first month because of kings. That's my thought, but that is true what you said. Felice, why do you think it's the first
I
month?
think because it's the first month that we were free as a nation.
Beautiful. So if Rosh Hashanah, beautiful, and I'm not disagreeing with you, Charlie, but I think that Felice said it in a nice way, that Rosh Hashanah is the first month, the birthday of the world, the creation of the whole world.
Right.
But Pesach is
Long
the
start.
birthday of the Jewish nation.
people.
Thank you, Felice.
Nation.
Nicely said. So therefore, it's when we left Egypt, when we were created as a nation. That is when we first became Am Yisrael, the nation of Israel. So the first month we said, and so Elaine suggests that it's in chronological order. Is that the right word? Chronological, right?
Yes.
Per month. Okay, so let's go through them now, everybody. All right? And I'm going to read it to you. I have a Tanakh in front of me. The first one happens to be here is Shabbat, but let's put that aside. Shabbat is like an overarching holiday. It's not exactly a holiday, but it is at the appointed time every 7 days. So now starting with verse 4, I'm going to read it to you. Eila Moadei Hashem. This is the Kiddush that we say on Shabbat. On Chag. Eila Moadei Hashem, Ikrei Kodesh Tikru Otam Moadam. These are, there's a place called, yeah, okay. Oh, thank you. I'm going to read it in a minute, Charlie, when I finish. Thank you. These are the designated times that are Kodesh. And with the first one, B'chodesh HaRishon, in the first month, remember Nisan, B'arba'asar l'chodesh ben arbaim, in the afternoon of the 14th day, there's actually a Chag called Pesach. There's actually 2 different Chagim. One is called Chag HaPesach, which is when they brought the korban Pesach on Erev Chag. And then there's Chag HaMatzot, which is what we call Pesach today. B'chamisha yom l'chodesh hazeh, on the 15th day, Chag HaMatzot l'Hashem. Shivat Yamim, it's called Chag HaMatzot, the holiday of matzah. And it's 7 days. You shouldn't work on the first day and the 7th day. Make sense? We're good? What would be the next holiday we would expect?
Shavuot.
Thank you. The next one is Shavuot. And if we go down to 9, 1 second. Ve'evetem et Omer. So the next one, starting from Pasuk, from verse 9, you should bring the Omer when you harvest, and you should wave it, and you should wave the Omer, etc., etc. 1 second. And you shouldn't eat from the new crop until you bring it on Shavuot. But 1 second, sorry, this is talking about counting first the 49 days of the Omer.
Omer, yeah.
And then it
Shavuot
says,
is not even mentioned.
wait, it is, Felice. Trust
No,
me.
it's not mentioned as a holiday.
Just
Shavuot.
a second.
Okay, okay.
Give me
okay.
a second. I'm going to tell you. I promise. Patience. Tisperu 50 yom. You should count 50 days. 1 second. Da 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 da. Vikravtem al alechem shivat basim. 1 second. I'm going to find it. Vasitem siri izim ve'nifa kohenotam. Ukratem on verse 21. Ukratem be'etzem hayom hazeh mikra kodesh yeh lechem. It should be a holy day for you. Kol melechad avodah lo ta'asu. On the 50th day, you should not do any work. Why?
Yeah.
It's Chag HaShavuot. They don't call, it's not called Chag
No,
HaShavuot.
that's what I meant to say. It's not said specifically in the Torah, Shavuot.
I know, but we're not. Okay, but
Okay, I
Felice,
understand.
you're
Okay.
right. You're right. I agree, but that's a whole nother story. I
Okay.
agree,
I
but not
understand.
here. But what we're talking about here is the list. Just give me,
I understand.
allow me to unroll this beautiful hint in the Torah. Just allow me to do it. Okay. All right. What would be the next one after Shavuot? Biblical.
Sukkot.
Nope.
No, Rosh Hashanah.
Rosh Hashanah, because Shavuot was in Sivan, which is the 3rd month, right? It's
And
Nisan,
Tishrei is.
Iyar, Sivan, and then we go through the summer. There's no biblical holidays. Obviously, we're only going to have biblical holidays in the Torah.
Just feast days.
So the next one is Rosh Hashanah, which is in the 7th month called Tishrei.
Right.
Daber b'nei Israel lemor b'chodesh hashvi'i in the 7th month b'echad lachodesh on the 1st day of the month. Truah, Yom Truah. So you should blow the shofar, Mikra Kodesh.
Right.
It's a holiday. Kol melechad avodah lo tasu. You shouldn't do any creative work. What's the next one?
Yom Kippur.
Yom Kippur in
Kippur.
verse 26. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe, ach be'asor lachodesh hashvi'i.
Right.
On the 10th day of the
the
7th
month.
month. It's called Yom HaKippurim. It is a holiday, and you have to afflict, right? The fasting, etc. And that goes all the way down to verse 33. What's the next one?
Sukkot.
Sukkot. So listen. On the 15th day of the 7th month, that's Sukkot. Chag Sukkot Shivat Yamim. It should be 7 days. B'Yom Rishon, on the first day, you shouldn't do it. And then, what's the next one?
Shmini Atzeret.
Shmini Atzeret. Thank you. Shmini Atzeret is a biblical holiday, and it says, Shivat Yamim Takrivu Ishe, you should do 7 days. B'Yom HaShmini, on the 8th day, Mikra Kodesh Yeh Lachem. Now, if Chanukah was in the Torah, where would it be?
Be in early
in the list.
unless
Where would it be in the list if it was in the Torah?
Between
It would be after Shmini Atzeret. There is no other. There is no other holiday after Shmini Atzeret. Well, now, so wait, Felice, let me, please allow me. Simchas Torah is not from the Torah. It's rabbinic. So there's a whole summary of all of these biblical ones. And now in chapter 24, which is exactly where Hanukkah would be if it was in the Torah, what does it say? Savet b'nei Israel, command the Israelites, v'ikhu elecha shemen zayit zach, take pure olive oil, katit lamaor, to light, laha'alot ner tamid, light a candle. A little teeny hint that Hanukkah is like, it's a hint to Hanukkah. And then it says you should light the menorah, ala menorah ha'tahorah, on the holy menorah.
Right.
And it's just so beautiful. I heard this from Rabbi David Foreman, who is Aleph Beta. He's amazing. And I just love this, that if you went through the chronological, and if Hanukkah was in the Torah, that's where it would be. So you know what? We're sort of mentioning it there. Like otherwise, why should it be right there in exactly the right place? Talk about olive oil. I light with olive oil. And lighting the menorah and lighting the Ner Tamid. So those are 3 hints in the Torah. Once you hear these, it's hard to forget them because they're so sweet. One is the 25th place, Kafhe, the 25th place that they camped, it was Chashmonah. One is that the 25th word in the Torah is Vayhi Or. There was light on the 25th word. And the last is that in the chronological listing in the Parsha of Emor, in the chronological listing, that there's the right after Shmini Atzeret, the next thing is about lighting a menorah with olive oil. Everybody with me on that?
Could you repeat that one more time? I want to write it
That's
down quickly.
very, very good.
Right? Aren't they
Yes,
good, Estelle? What do you
yeah,
want? What do you
I'm
want?
impressed.
Felice, what did you want me to, what did you
could
want?
you,
The three of
those
them?
three pledges, I want to write them down so I can look them up later or tell people about them.
How about, should I put it in the
Yeah.
chat? Would that be, oh, maybe that's not helpful too. So number one is, let's start with Bereshit.
Yeah,
So in
Bereshit, mhm.
Genesis, the 25th word is or, light.
Wait, 25th word or, okay.
In Emor, Emor is in Vayikra, Leviticus, when there's a listing of the holidays, right after the holidays finish listing Shmini Atzeret, the very next paragraph after summary of all the holidays is a passage about taking olive oil and lighting the menorah.
And chapter 24.
Yes, 24 exactly. And in Numbers, at the very end in Mas'eh, when there's a listing of all the places that Bnei Israel camped, the 25th encampment was
Was
Hashmona.
Hashmona. Okay, 25th account. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Okay.
I wish I had.
Okay,
I wish I knew.
let me
shorthand.
just look. Wait, the great Hallel is not. Oh, I knew that. Okay. I want to. All right, there's a lot for me. I can't read all this, but I will try to read them afterwards. There's too much for me to read now. I'm sorry. Whoever wrote things in the chat, if you'll send them to me afterwards, that would be awesome because I can't read them right now. There's a couple more things I would love to share with you. I don't have enough time to share everything that I prepared, clearly.
So how
because
about next Wednesday instead of the other class?
instead of my,
Continuation, like part A.
no, I'll share with you a few. No, let me just share a few little, but thank you.
Okay.
Maybe next year I'll expound more. Okay, everybody good with this? So remember the few things that we learned. Let's go back. You know what? Let me summarize what we learned until now.
This
'cause-
would be a good Russia also.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so we said that we talked about the similarities and differences between Purim and Chanukah. We said we read, maybe I'll save everything else that I prepared for next year when I do my Hanukkah thing, because it's such a beautiful one. But so Hanukkah and Purim are similar. They're both rabbinic, right? They happened after the Torah was closed, but they were set up by our sages, and therefore things were added to our liturgy. Al Hanisim, we say it in benching. We say it in all of our Shmona Esreis, all during Hanukkah, whether it's Shabbat or during the week, Musaf, everything. We're not allowed to do things you're not supposed to do on happy days. So the two that are mentioned is you don't say Tachanun in Shul, and you don't give long eulogies.
Eulogy, right?
Yep, Hespedim. And we said that they're not similar. That it's interesting that you said fast, Adela, because one of the differences between Purim and Chanukah is that on Purim, because one of the differences is that on Purim, our physicality, they wanted to kill us, whereas on Chanukah, they wanted to kill our soul, our Judaism. And on Purim, there's an actual mitzvah to eat, to feast, to actually have a seudah. Remember, and we send gifts to each other, mishloach manot, and we give money so people will have money for the food. So, and what Adela pointed out is that we fast first. So maybe it's more to appreciate that we are alive. That's possible. On Chanukah, even though we all get together and we have latkes and sufganim and all that. Wait 1 second, Felice. I'll finish and then you'll say it. If you raise your hand, that would be great. Then I can call on you. So there's no mitzvah to have a meal. There is no specific mitzvah. There's a minhag, a custom. This is about Yehudit. That'll be for another year. That there's a custom to having cheese, dairy products, and to have things fried in oil. But there's no mitzvah to actually eat. And that's because it's more about our spirituality that was supposed to be eradicated, which is why we do things about that, which is for another time and for my next shiur on it, I guess. So that's another difference between the two. One is 8 days, of course, one is not 8 days. One day outside of Jerusalem and one day inside Jerusalem. I'm trying to remember what else specifically. Okay, so we spoke about that. Oh, and I said to you that who was it who said that, Judy, that the covert and overt, right, that on, whoever said it, I can't remember, I apologize, that on Purim things are hidden and we don't see God's hand overtly, whereas on Chanukah it's clear that it's Nes Gadol, it's it's a great miracle happened that we see God's hand. And I shared this sweet idea that the Sivivon is twirled from on top from God's hand, whereas a Graga or Rashan is twirled from underneath, which is seems like it's people who did it, like Mordechai and Esther. So that's how we started the class. And then we spoke about the fact that we can't find things about to read in the Torah, but Torah reading was set up for these days. We did speak about Hallel. We said Hallel is done on Chanukah because it happened in Israel. That's what was set up, and we do Hallel every single day on Chanukah. And then we said that what do we read from the Torah, because it's not mentioned in the Torah because it happened after. So we read about Chanukat HaMizbeach, Chanukat HaMishkan, the dedication of the tabernacle. Every day we read that prince, whatever that prince brought. At the end we read 8 all the way to the end, and then Zot Chanukat HaMizbeach. This was or is the dedication of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle, of the altar. And that's why it's called Zot Chanukah, starting in a few hours tonight. And Purim, we read about Amalek because Haman comes from Amalek and he's supposed to be eradicated, which he personally was. Haman was killed and his 10 sons. And but then I said, let me offer you 3 hints, little teeny hints from the Torah, which we already discussed. That is what this class was. And I just had so much fun preparing it and sharing it.
Yeah.
But I want to tell you, I have a
We
whole other
enjoyed
class.
it.
Thank you,
We
Felice.
enjoyed it.
I have a whole other class prepared, and I'm going to save it, B'li Neder, for next year to teach on Chanukah, a completely different thing. It's the famous question of the Beit Yosef. And I'll just leave you with a tantalizing question, and we will revisit it next year. And that is, and I have a book, by the way, a book that my brother recommended. It's called Ner Leme'ah, meaning a light, a light for 100, or a candle for 100. So the Beit Yosef, Rabbi Yosef Karu, who wrote the Shulchan Aruch, asked this question. I don't want to hear answers because that we're going to do next year. You have a whole year to think about it. He asked this question. He says, why was Chanukah set up for 8 days? Remember, why is it 8 days? Oh, miracle of the oil, it lasted for 8 days, right? That's the general answer we're usually given. Do we do it for 8 days? Actually, there was only a miracle for 7 days. The first day, the oil burned.
Right.
Great, so the oil burned. Don't tell me the answer. There are many, 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 many answers, and we're going to have a whole class on it next year. You just need patience to wait. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Chanukah
welcome.
Sameach, Chodesh Tov.
To you.
Wonderful learning. Thank you so much for coming on. It was a delight. I don't know if you could tell, but this was so much fun for me to share this with you.
It's mutual.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
No, I just want to ask one quick question. How come?
Can
if
you wait,
forget-
Felice?
Okay.
Can you answer me privately, not on the chat?
Oh,
Not
yeah,
on
yeah,
the-
yeah, sure. I'll
Okay.
call you.
All right, my friends. Have a good day. Be well. Take
You
good
too.
care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You.